Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Find Out What's in Pelenta's Forrest. Grab yourself a glass of water or a cup of tea and spend the next few minutes with me. And like I always tell you, don't believe everything you hear. Check your facts and do your own research. And as soon as the butterflies bring us on in, we will get started with some of this news. Don't you want to know what my butterflies are saying? Don't you want to know what my butterflies are talking? This is my Forrest, and I am Pelenta. At least I am today. I don't know what I'm going to be tomorrow. But anyway, I have some cool stuff to tell you. Cool news to share. Yes, I do. Well, let's see. Episode 34. I jumped the gun just a tiny bit because I was talking about the first hand transplant. And I was wrong. So now I'm going to start the show talking about the first hand transplant. And this is going to be super cool. Like I always say, check this out. I love medical science. So, this is the story. First of all, I want to ask you, are you a donor? Because you know, when you go to DMV on your driver's license, they have that little area where it has the little pink thing that says donor. And I know that a lot of people have mixed emotions about being a donor. Some people are all for being a donor, and other people are just like, I'm not going to be a donor because, you know, some of us watch movies and we take it to the extreme. But if you saw the movie Tourista, and also Extreme Measures, where they were just taking the homeless people off the street and harvesting their organs. And then, you know, the little rumor about when you go to some foreign countries to visit, they'll dose your drink and then they'll take your organs when you're passed out. So for all kinds of crazy reasons, people don't want to be organ donors, organ blah, 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 organ donors. But being an organ donor is a very wonderful thing to do because you're dead, okay? You're in a coffin. Your organs are now, they're dried up and useless. You're not doing anybody any good. But if you're on your last leg, and just like with the whole right to die thing, you know, your heart can give somebody else life. So being an organ donor is really a good thing, but you know, it's to each his own. Nobody can force you to be an organ donor. But this story I think you'll really appreciate. So this is the very first hand transplant that has taken place, and let's see here. Earlier this month, almost 50 years later, this young man has flexed his fingers on his new left hand, provided by surgeons at Duke University Hospital. Now, this surgery is the first of its kind in North Carolina. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this gentleman. When he was 4 years old, he actually lost his hand in a horrible accident. He was 4 years old, and he put his hand in a meat grinder, and his brother bumped into the machine and accidentally turned it on, and he lost his left hand. So all this time, he's been living his life without his left hand. Well, in North Carolina, the culmination of years of planning and the development of drugs, and to ensure that the transplanted hand would not be rejected, this young man had a hand transplant. And the surgery was a 12-hour procedure, and it was performed by a team of 17 surgeons and 17 anesthesiologists and nurses and operating room staff and technicians. Now, one thing that I've noticed over time that I've discussed, like I said, the uterus transplant, penis transplant, things like that, is they always have like 17 surgeons, 19 surgeons. It's like, man, they have all these surgeons in there, and I wonder why. But you know, the surgery takes so many hours, and I guess, you know, it's just like when you're giving somebody CPR. Once you get tired, you got to have somebody right there to pick up right where you're leaving off. There is no time to stop and, oh, I got to take a break. And no, you can't do that. You have this person's life in your hands. So you have to have somebody right there backing you up to carry on, you know, the work that you're doing. But anyway, he was given, you know, drugs so that the transplanted hand would not be rejected by his immune system, because you know how your body is. If your body has something that is not natural or is not born, you weren't born with it, the natural response is to reject it. So they had to give him the anti-rejection drugs, and so far, so good. But during his recovery, now listen to this. This is just amazing. So check this out. During his recovery, his nerves will creep about 1 inch per month into his new hand, just like roots growing into a tree. Is that incredible? I mean, medical science, I love it. It is just absolutely amazing. So he's going to have to take, you know, standard anti-rejection medication for quite some time, but he's already beginning the long process of physical therapy to explore using his left hand. And he's also going to meet with therapists to process the complex emotions that are also involved with relearning life after spending most of his life without his left hand. Now, seriously, now you would think that now that he has a left hand, that everything would just be honky-dory. He would just, you know, get some therapy, use his hand, the whole 9 yards. But you know what? That is just as mentally traumatic as losing his left hand, believe it or not. So he has to go through therapy and mental therapy and all kinds of things, because now this hand that hasn't been there, now all of a sudden it's there. So he has to learn to adjust to having this hand. Now he has this hand, he has these fingers that he never had before. Look at all the things that he could do now that he couldn't do. Can you imagine that? I mean, it's just like, oh my God, it's like he's going into shock over having this new wonderful hand. Now, of course, the hand was donated from an organ donor. And it says that he's one of 90 people to undergo a hand transplant worldwide. You know, and he expresses sympathy to the anonymous donor's family, and he says that he is grateful to the surgical team, and especially for the care and the compassion, you know, given to him at Duke University, you know, since the surgery. So I thought this was just absolutely amazing, and I want to show you this picture here, because you can see that his hand, it's all attached and everything. And if you can see the look on his face, he looks like he's still in shock. He's just amazed that he has a hand now. So I think, like I said, you know, I don't think that the doctors really, and I'm not saying this for a fact, but I don't think that the doctors really get enough credit for the work that they do, because let me tell you, these doctors are absolutely amazing. They're out there fighting for us every single day, just like the soldiers. They are always looking for a new cure, a new way to help us. I mean, they're reattaching limbs, they're replacing eyeballs, you know, now they're replacing genitals, they're doing all these transgender surgeries. I mean, nothing is impossible, people. I keep saying that, nothing is impossible. Okay, moving on. You know, I'm in love with Tesla. I'm always talking about the Tesla cars and the models and the whole 9 yards. So here's an article, and it says Tesla denies safety problems. So electric car maker Tesla Motors is denying allegations that there are safety problems with its vehicle suspensions. So the Palo Alto company says one of its cars had an abnormal amount of rust on a suspension part. And the problem, it hasn't been seen in any other car. Now, of course it hasn't. It already sounds ridiculous, but on Thursday, the United States National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said it's asking for more information from owners and Tesla about the Model S suspension failures. Now, Tesla said in a statement that the Model S with the rust and has had more than 70,000 miles on it, and it was just caked in dirt. So it said it's been given, the agency, relevant information. But, so I mean, see, and this is the thing too. With Tesla being so fabulous and being the first of its kind to do all this kind of stuff, he's going to be constantly under attack and under scrutiny. You have Faraday that's out there trying to outdo Tesla, and then you have that other company, Ikea or something like that, that's also planning to open up some $500 million plant to compete with Tesla. So when you're great, you have to be careful, because you always have somebody coming up trying to get you. So they're saying it's rust. He's saying that it's caked up dirt from driving that sucker 70,000 miles already. And then moving on, now Tesla is offering a cheaper Model S. So Tesla also said that it has started selling a cheaper version of its Model S car in an attempt to make its electric vehicle more affordable. Because it's like us little people down here that are only making $40,000 and $50,000 a year, we would like to, be able to buy a Tesla vehicle also. Why should all this great stuff be restricted to people that are making $90,000 and $100,000 and $200,000 and $300,000 a year? I mean, come on. We may not be making as much money as everybody else, but we're working just as hard. Okay? We deserve to have some of this fun and enjoy some of these fancy things too, in my opinion. Do you agree? So anyway, the new version, called the Model S60, starts at $66,000. It's an all-wheel drive version of the Model S60, which will start at $71,000, but both cost less than the current model S90D, which starts at $89,500. Now, Tesla has said that when tax incentives and gas savings are taken into account, the Model S60 will have an effective cost of about $50,000. So Tesla says that the Model S60 can travel 200 miles per charge and has a top speed of 130 miles per hour. Now, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I mean, that's really cool and everything, but seriously, who needs to drive that fast? Who needs to drive that fast? This girl right here. That's right. Anyway, you guys, go on and get you a Tesla. As a matter of fact, what we should do is we ought to put all of our money together, like each of us put in like $10,000, and we'll all own the Tesla, like 10 or 15 of us, and each of us, we'll take turns driving it. Like, you get it for a month, you get it for a month, I get it for a month. Hey, nothing's impossible. We can work that out. Hey, call me up. We'll get that started. All right, and let's see. What else do I want to talk about here? Okay, this is funny. I'm going to talk smack about this. The Brazil health minister says Zika is no threat. What is wrong with you people? Zika is no threat. Are you crazy? Brazil's new health minister went on the offensive in a bid to dispel worries, Editor, where's my editor? Damn it. Let me start over here. Brazil's new health minister went on the offensive in a bid to dispel worries about the country's Zika outbreak, which has cast a pall over the upcoming Rio de Janeiro Olympics. So see, you know what? Let me tell you why. You know why people are freaking out about this Zika virus? Can you guess? Can you guess? I'm going to tell you why. Because the wind blows, people. And when the wind blows, things that just happen to be laying around minding their own business, the wind is rude and it will pick you up and it'll just make you move, okay? So that minister is out of his cotton picking damn mind. Zika is a threat. As long as we have the wind that blows, as long as it gets windy, anything is a threat, okay? Golly gee whiz. Okay, here's another cool article. All right, now you guys, how do you feel about daylight savings time? Because remember, daylight savings time originally was for what? The farmers to have more daylight, which honestly is really kind of dumb. I mean, seriously, think about it. Because right now, just say it's 9 o'clock at night. If we just want to get on the news and say, okay, everybody, it's not 9 o'clock anymore. It's now 10 o'clock. Move your clocks up an hour. All of a sudden, it's 10 o'clock. But you know what? No matter what time it is, nothing outside changes. I can tell you it's any time of the dang day. Nothing outside changes. Do the birds have a clock? Does your dog have a clock? No, they just go by the feeling of the light or whatnot. So anyway, you know how I like to get off on a tangent, but listen to this. Big day for daylight savings critics. Is California ready to end daylight savings time? Well, in February, the introduction of a bill seeking to abolish our biannual changing of the clocks unleashed a passionate explosion of responses, both fans and haters. Damn those haters. But anyway, the dubiously beneficial tradition has been on tenterhooks for months over its fate. Well, the wait is now over. ep. 385 by Assemblyman Kansan Chu, Democrat from San Jose, is finally set for its first hearing in the Senate Energy, Utilities, and Communications Committee, which meets in room 112 on the Capitol upon the adjournment of the floor session. So they're actually going to have a big meeting about this and vote on it and decide what they're going to do about it. So my question is, if they get rid of the daylight savings time, are they going to end it on spring ahead or fall back? I'm just asking. Quite frankly, I'd like to end it on spring ahead, you know, so we'll still have that extra light. Okay, moving right along. Let's see here. FAA rules out pilot mental test. All right, now remember I just spoke to you about, I think it was Senate Bill 1033, where they don't want doctors to have to disclose why they are on probation. So like I said, if you go to a plastic surgeon to adjust your big forehead, like my big forehead, and all the reviews say, oh, he's great, he did a good job on my forehead. Well, Dr. Frankenstein doesn't have any bad reviews because his little probation file has been sealed, and that's not fair because all the people's foreheads that he jacked up, no reviews are out there. They want to seal that. Well, here we go again, because the FAA has ruled out pilot mental test. So basically it says here, the Federal Aviation Administration has ruled out requiring psychological testing for airline pilots in favor of enhanced mental health support programs in response to a crash last year in which a German pilot flew an airliner full of passengers into a mountain. Okay, so basically if your pilot is, now no disrespect, I know that mental illness is a serious thing. I know that, okay? So I'm not making light of that. But the thing is, if somebody has a history of depression or schizophrenia or bipolar, and every 6 months or so, they decide they want to burn the whole house down and they want to shoot up 10 people and take everybody with them, I would like to know that before I get on the airplane that he's getting ready to fly halfway around the world. Now, we're going to Hawaii, and all of a sudden, he gets over the water, and he starts having a bad moment. And he's just like, you know what? Screw these people. I'm diving into the water. So, once again, it's just not important for us to know. Man, like I said, I don't believe everything, but I believe anything, because you people on this planet are crazy. And on that note, here is something that you guys are going to love to hear. Lionel Richie is coming to Harrah's Lake Tahoe Saturday, August 13th. So get your fine butts out there and get your tickets, because I saw him a couple of years ago and it was a great show. And look at that. That is a recent picture of him, and the man still looks fabulous. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our show for this evening. I hope you enjoyed yourself as much as I did. There are many, many more shows to come. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Go and buy my book. My website, plungeforrest.com. Thank you very much for watching. I am so very grateful for everything, and I am grateful for you too. We are going to get out of here with my favorite tune. And you know what that is? It is One Love. So you guys, all of you ladies and gents, have a fantastic, fabulous week. Be nice to everybody you come across. You never know how your kind words can make their day great. So on that note, thank you for watching. Find out what's in Pelenta's forest. And God bless you all. Good night.